I handled all the paperwork, furnished the place, and ensured she had everything she needed. A week later, I overheard her bragging to her friends, calling me a pathetic son-in-law and saying I was too stupid to realize they were plotting to rob me blind. She talked about moving in with my daughter and taking my house right out from under me. She called me a loser, laughed about how easy it was to manipulate me, and even mocked my family behind my back. I didn't react, just smiled. That was a month ago. Yesterday, my wife and her mother texted, "Please answer her. I haven't posted here before, but I need to get this out because I can't even tell if I'm seeing things straight at this point. I feel like I'm watching myself in a bad sitcom, but it's not funny at all. I don't know if anyone else has had in-law drama this wild, but here goes. So, a quick rundown. I'm Bryce, I'm 31, married to Tegan. We've been together almost 7 years now, no kids, which is a whole other can of worms that her family brings up every time we see them. Her mom, Teresa, is one of those people who tries to make everything about her. She's always had this way of acting like she's doing you a favor by accepting your help. I thought it was just her way, but I was wrong. It started super low-key back in December. Teresa's lease was up, and she made a big deal about how the market is impossible and she didn't want to end up in some depressing little box. Tegan's her only kid and she's always been wrapped around her mom's finger. So, of course we end up talking about helping out. I didn't love the idea, not going to lie, but Tegan was stressed and I figured whatever we're doing, okay, I can swing this. I spent literal weeks looking at places, figuring out paperwork, driving Teresa to showings. She'd pick apart every single tiny thing. One place had cheap light switches. Another was full of weird smells. She only agreed to this one spot because it was close to some friends she sees for these wine nights. Classic. Here's where it gets nuts. I straight up pay the down payment, do all the forms, move her in. I got her a decent mattress, a desk, even set up her Wi-Fi and put together shelves while she scrolled Facebook upstairs. I kept thinking, why am I bending over backward for someone who once said my family was nice but painfully boring? She said it to my face, laughed, said she was joking. I don't know, maybe she meant it, maybe not. So we finish moving her in, and for a week or so she's super sweet, brings over muffins, texts me these "thank you, you're a lifesaver" messages. But it all feels kind of fake. Tegan's all, see, she just needed support. And I try to believe it, but stuff keeps feeling off. First weird thing, last Thursday we're at our place pizza night. Teresa's there and out of nowhere she says to Tegan, "Well, once you're settled we'll have to do something about the decor at your place too." I'm like, what? Our place is fine. Tegan kind of laughs it off, but I notice she gets tense. Friday, Teresa texts me at noon, says she forgot some insurance stuff at her condo and asks if I can swing by and drop it off after work. I say, sure, no big deal, it's on my way. When I get there, I park and hear music blasting upstairs. I'm about to ring the bell when I hear her voice. She's got her phone on speaker and she's talking to her friends. Now, I'm not one to eavesdrop, but it's literally echoing down the hallway. I hear her say, "He's so gullible, I swear. Bought me this place, does whatever Tegan says, and he has no clue we're about to take the house too." They all start laughing. Then someone says something about, "He's lucky you even bothered pretending to like him." Teresa goes, "He's a loser, but he's useful. These men want to feel needed, just let them think they're running things." She starts making fun of my family, my mom's Midwestern manners, my dad's corny jokes, even says stuff about how it's so easy to get what you want if you act helpless around men like that. I'm just standing there holding this envelope, feeling like I got punched in the gut. But also, I don't even know, man. Like, my brain just goes blank. I didn't walk in, I just turned around, walked back to my car and sat there. I called my brother Dwayne and just said, "I think I just heard Teresa planning to screw me over." He laughs at first, thinks I'm joking because it does sound wild, but then I tell him what she said word for word and he just goes silent. I went home, didn't say anything because I needed time to think. I know how this sounds. I know people are going to say, "Talk to your wife." But I wanted to be sure before I blew things up. That night I said to Tegan, "Hey, your mom's got some big plans, huh?" Just testing the waters. She gets real weird, says she's just joking, you know how mom talks, but she won't look me in the eye. Now I can't stop noticing little things. Tegan keeps asking about how the mortgage works, about what if something happened and wouldn't it be easier if the deed was joint. She's never cared about that stuff before. Teresa's texting Tegan way more than usual, and every time I ask what's up, she says it's nothing. I'm not an idiot, I know when I'm being sized up. And the worst part is, I think Teresa's always had this thing where she looks down on me. She's always made these comments about ambition and doing better for her daughter. I guess she thought I'd never hear her real thoughts. So now I'm just watching. I'm not saying a word to her, just playing along, but I'm changing stuff, putting my accounts on private, locking things down, not leaving paperwork out. I'm not going to be her doormat, not for one more day. I haven't told my parents yet, but I texted my dad, just said, "Remind me to call you tomorrow, stuff's weird." He'll probably think I'm overreacting. I know this isn't some movie, but I'm not going to let myself get played like a clown. Teresa wants to mess around? Fine, I can do that. I'm not letting her or anyone else laugh at me in my own house. Next step, I'm not even sure yet, but I'm not just sitting here waiting for them to make the next move. If she wants a fight, she picked the wrong guy. Yeah, I know this sounds nuts, but trust me, this is just getting started. Update 1. All right, back for part 2. And honestly, if you told me I'd be playing 4D chess with my own family this year, I'd have laughed. But here we are. So, after that night, I just started noticing stuff. Not huge things, just little changes. Like, Tegan started putting our mail in her purse instead of leaving it on the kitchen table. And when I asked about it, she just says she doesn't want to lose it. I guess normal, but she never cared before. Then, Teresa kept dropping by at weird times, like Tuesday at 11 a.m., just to get her scarf. But she always wanted to come inside and talk to Tegan in the bedroom with the door closed. I'm not dumb, I started keeping track. Not like a notebook or anything, just notes on my phone, time, what they said, if they took anything. I started locking the file cabinet in the bedroom and putting the key in my jeans pocket. Yeah, it's probably paranoid, but after what I heard, I'm not giving them another inch. One night, I was on the couch and Tegan's phone lights up. She's in the shower, and I see a text from Teresa, something like, "So, have you talked to him about the forms yet?" I don't go through her phone, but that stuck with me. So, I started asking questions over dinner. I'd say stuff like, "Hey, did you ever figure out what those forms your mom mentioned are?" Just to see her face. She'd get this defensive tone like, "It's just insurance stuff, don't worry about it." Every time it's, "Don't worry, not a big deal, you don't need to know." But some stuff you can't miss. One day, Teresa called me while I was at the grocery store. She says she's locked out of her condo and needs me to bring the spare. I say fine, but when I get there, she's already inside. She just wanted to check how quickly I'd help. She laughs, but it's not funny. Then she starts in about, "Maybe you should give Tegan a set of the house keys just in case you ever get sick or something." I tell her, "I'm fine, I don't need anyone else with my house key." She shrugs and mutters something about trust and family. Then the money stuff starts. Tegan comes into the living room, says Teresa needs a little extra for groceries, and asks to move some money from savings. I say, "What happened to her grocery budget?" She says her mom had some surprise bill. I log in and see a ton of little transfers for errands, cleaning, mask, all to Teresa. I ask Tegan, "Did you know about all these?" She acts surprised, but she's a terrible liar. I set up my bank app to ping me every time money moves. I ask my brother if I'm being crazy. He just says, "Bro, trust your gut, but don't go nuclear unless you have proof." So, I start gathering everything. I screenshot texts where Teresa asks for money, take photos of receipts, even record one convo on my phone. No laws broken, just me in my own house, recording. I text my dad, "Hey, if you get any weird calls from Teresa, let me know." He just sends a thumbs up. Not helpful, but whatever. Then comes the family meeting. Tegan says her mom wants to talk about future plans and maybe streamlining things. I say, "Fine, we'll meet at the condo." I walk in. Teresa acts sweet, sits me down with papers about emergency contacts and power of attorney and all this. She says it's just in case something happens, but the forms basically make Tegan joint owner of the house and give her rights over everything if I'm ever unwell. I don't sign anything. I say, "I'll think about it." Teresa gets annoyed, slaps her hand on the table and says, "Don't I trust my own wife?" I tell her, "Yeah, but I also trust myself to read what I'm signing." She stands up, calls me stubborn, storms off, slams the bedroom door. Tegan tries to play peacemaker, says her mom just gets anxious about the future. I don't buy it. I tell her, "We're not signing anything we don't both agree on, and if this is about security, we can get a lawyer." She gets mad, says I'm making her choose between her husband and her mom. I say, "I'm just making sure nobody gets screwed over." She walks out, calls her mom, and they leave together. Next day, I go to the condo, change the Wi-Fi password, and tell Teresa I need to do maintenance. I take photos of everything, furniture, valuables, the works. I start getting calls from her friends, asking why I'm being paranoid. Someone must have told them I'm acting crazy. So, I invite Tegan and Teresa over for dinner at our place just to keep things public. I put all the bank statements and condo docs in a folder on the table, not the originals, copies. I say, "Let's be clear, the condo's in my name, the house is in my name, all the money comes from my accounts. I'm not adding anyone to anything." If you have questions, ask now. Teresa's face goes red. She tries to guilt trip me, says she sacrificed everything for Tegan, deserves some security. I say, you have a condo fully furnished, paid for. She says, that's not enough. She tries to take the folder, I pull it back. She tries to grab my arm, so I step back and say, don't touch me. She stands up, pushes her chair back so hard it hits the wall, and she storms out. Tegan follows, but not before yelling that I'm ruining everything. She slams the door. I text my brother Dwayne and just say, pretty sure I just started World War III. He sends back a bunch of laughing emojis. And finally, so now it's basically a Cold War at the house. Tegan barely talks to me except to ask about bills. Teresa's blowing up my phone, but I'm not answering. I notice she's suddenly posting a lot of family is everything stuff on Facebook, which is hilarious coming from her. I don't know what their next move is, but I'm not just sitting around. I moved all valuables out of the house and put them at my parents' place. I changed my passwords, started keeping receipts for everything. I know I probably look like a paranoid psycho, but I'm not getting blindsided again. I know Teresa treats me the way she does because she thinks I'm just some pushover she can boss around. She's always been like that. Anyone who doesn't bow to her, she treats like dirt. It's not even about the money, it's about control. Frankly, I'm done playing nice. Next time they try something, I'm not holding back. I'm not going to scream or throw things. I'm just going to make sure every move they make costs them. I know this isn't the end, but I'm feeling way less helpless now. I'll update if, when they make a move. There's no way they're done. Update 2, so yeah, I guess I'm back sooner than I thought. Honestly, it's wild how fast things can go from awkward family dinner to who's going to snap first. It's not even like they're hiding it anymore, it's all just right out in the open. And if you're expecting some dramatic movie moment, you're not getting it because this is just real life, and real people are way dumber and way more stubborn. So, last week I'm trying to get my head together, just doing laundry and catching up on bills, when I notice all the kitchen chairs are stacked weird. Not a big deal, but like, why? Turns out Teresa was over and decided to rearrange stuff for better energy. That's her new thing, I guess. She's all about energy now. She does this every time she's pissed, tries to move stuff around like she's in charge. I just move it back and don't say anything. Then Tegan starts getting twitchy about the condo. She asks if I've paid utilities this month and I say, yeah, why? She says her mom's worried the Wi-Fi is going to get shut off. I say, it's fine, I'm handling it. And she gets all huffy about how her mom needs independence. I tell her if she wants independence, she can pay her own bills. She storms out and texts her mom. Now, Teresa is texting me almost every day. She asks for small stuff. Can I help hang curtains? Can I give her a ride to the pharmacy? Can I just check her banking app for her because she forgot the password? I just start saying no. She gets mad, calls Tegan, complains about how I'm withholding support. I'm not even hiding it anymore. I just tell them both I'm done being an ATM. So I start making moves. First thing, I pull every single shared card and account. I text Tegan, letting her know I'm moving my money into a new account. I tell her she can have access to her own, but mine is mine. She tries to argue, says, marriage is about trust, but I just say, you lost my trust when you started hiding stuff. She leaves the room, doesn't come back for an hour. I go to the condo and take photos of every piece of furniture, every appliance, even the stuff I bought for Teresa. I tell her, I'm doing this for insurance. She asks if I'm planning to kick her out. I just say, if you don't like it, you can find another place. She tries to slap my arm. I move away and she calls me ungrateful. She starts trying to get sympathy from everyone, texts my dad, tries to call my brother. My dad just says, don't drag me into this, and hangs up. Dwayne laughs and says, she's finally getting what's coming. Next, I start getting calls from random family members. One cousin calls and says, Teresa says you're making her homeless. I say, she has a place to live, I bought it for her. She can handle her own stuff. Cousin says, are you okay, man? I say, yeah, just tired of being taken advantage of. Tegan and Teresa start showing up at the house together. They come in, start looking through drawers, asking about paperwork. I tell them, you're not going through my stuff. Teresa gets mad and pushes a folder off the table. I tell her, if you break anything, you're paying for it. She says I'm being aggressive. I say, I'm setting boundaries. She grabs her purse and leaves, slamming the door. Tegan stays but won't even look at me. Then the condo stuff gets real. I start scheduling showings for the condo just to see what would happen. I text Teresa and tell her I might have to sell if things get too expensive. She freaks, calls Tegan, says I'm threatening her security. I tell them I'm not threatening anything, I'm just doing what I need to do. Now Teresa's friends are coming out of the woodwork. I get texts from numbers I don't know, people saying I'm a bad husband, that I'm ruining Tegan's life. I take screenshots, send them to Dwayne, and we just laugh. I start forwarding some of the texts and voice memos I have of Teresa talking trash to our family group chat. I don't even say anything, just send them. My aunt replies with a wow, and my cousin just sends the eyes emoji. Nobody's defending her now. Teresa shows up at the door one night, pounding and screaming about how I'm ruining her. I open the door and say, "You're not coming in." She tries to push past me, I block her. She slaps my chest, I just stand there. She leaves, yelling at the neighbors about how I'm abusive. I don't care anymore. Tegan tries to get me to talk, but I just say, "You can stay here if you want, but if you keep siding with your mom, you can go live with her." She says I'm making her choose. I say, "No, you made your choice when you lied." She slams the bedroom door and doesn't come out for the rest of the night. Next day I wake up and the kitchen is trashed, cabinets open, stuff everywhere. I go to the condo and change the locks. I text Teresa, tell her she's not welcome at my house without my permission. She freaks out, texts Tegan 100 times. Tegan ignores me all day. So now I'm living like I'm single. Honestly, I don't trust either of them and I'm just waiting for the next move. For everyone who thinks I should just forgive and forget, not happening. I'm done being the nice guy. I know Teresa acts this way because she thinks she's smarter than everyone and because nobody's ever actually told her no. I guess she got used to everyone just giving in. Not anymore. I'm not sure what comes next, but if they keep pushing, I'm ready. I'm not backing down. I'm not scared of conflict, not after everything they've tried to pull. You can only get slapped so many times before you start fighting back. Anyway, I'll update if anything big happens. I'm not going anywhere and neither is my house. Let's see who cracks first. Finally, subdate. So, this is probably it for updates because I don't even know what else to say at this point. Honestly, I thought I was done with surprises, but the way this ended is weirder than I expected. Not dramatic, just real and kind of bleak, but also whatever, I'm good with it. So, the first thing that tipped me off this round was how quiet it got. It's wild how after months of daily drama, people just go silent. No more group texts, no random knocks on the door, even the cousins stopped with their "hope you're okay" messaging. Tegan's sleeping in the guest room, acting like I'm some kind of dictator for locking everything down. She's on her phone all the time, whispering to her mom or scrolling through Facebook groups about starting over. Honestly, I just did my own thing, gym, work, eating takeout in front of the TV with earbuds in. Then, out of nowhere, I get mail at the house addressed to Teresa. She's having her official stuff sent here now. I text Tegan, "Why is your mom using my address?" She says it's just temporary because she's moving things around. I tell her to fix it or I'll start returning everything to sender. She doesn't answer, just slams the bathroom door. It really hit ahead when I started getting bills for the condo, utilities, cleaning, even a repair for a broken window. I text Teresa, "You owe me for all this." She says she thought I'd cover it since I own the place. I say, "You're living there for free, you can pay your own bills or get out." She says I'm being cruel and that family helps family. I say, "Family doesn't plot to rob you," and hang up. So I just went nuclear. I put the condo up for rent on Zillow, told Teresa she's got 30 days to get out, sent her an official letter, not just a text. Changed the locks again after giving her notice. She calls Tegan, who tries to come at me with, "You can't just kick my mom out." I say, "It's my condo, she's not paying, she's out. If you want to go with her, go." Tegan packed a bag, left for the condo, came back that night, and just stared at me like she didn't even recognize me anymore. She kept asking, "How could you do this? You're ruining everything. You're not the man I married." I just shrugged and told her, "Maybe you never knew me then." She pushed my shoulder and went into the bedroom. The next week is a blur, TBH. I just focused on clearing out my own stuff, kept things civil with Tegan when we crossed paths, but otherwise avoided her. She tried guilt, tried yelling, tried crying. Nothing worked. At one point, she grabbed my phone and tried to scroll through my messages. I snatched it back and said, "Don't touch my stuff." She slapped my arm and said I was being a jerk. I said, "I'm being smart, that's it." Teresa tried to have some of her friends call me, asking for just a little time. I said, "No." I texted her, "You have 2 weeks. After that, you're out or your stuff is on the curb." She said I was heartless. I said, "Call it what you want." My dad texted me, "You sure about this?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "All right, just don't do anything illegal." He's always been like that. Never wants drama but doesn't want to see me get walked on either. Dwayne just sent me a meme about popcorn and said, "Can't wait to see what happens." So moving day comes and Teresa tries to play the victim. She's crying, has Tegan show up early and start yelling at me that I'm abandoning family. I say, "You've got a new place, you can figure it out." Teresa tries to hug me, I step back. She tries to slap my shoulder, I don't react. She mutters something about, "You'll regret this." I just keep moving her boxes. She slams the door on her way out. I cleaned up the condo, listed it for rent, got a couple of showings lined up already. I texted Teresa, "Your mail is at the front desk, don't come to my house." She calls, I don't answer. I block her on my phone. Tegan tries to show up at my house the next day. I tell her through the Ring cam to text me if it's important. She leaves without saying anything. After that, it's just quiet. Honestly, the quiet is weird. The group chats are dead. My mom calls to ask if I'm eating enough. My aunt sends me a recipe for chili. I go to the gym, watch games, hang out with Dwayne at his place, just trying to feel normal again. Then last night I get this text. Actually 2 texts, one from Tegan, one from Teresa, both at the same time. All it says is, "Please answer her." I look at the screen, laugh and put my phone down. I haven't answered, not planning to. I'm not interested in whatever plan they've got now. I know some people are going to say I should try to work it out or that I'm being too cold, but honestly I'm just tired. I did everything for them and they showed me exactly who they are. I'm not mad anymore, just done. I don't wish them anything good or bad, I just want my life back. So that's it, I guess. If you're ever in a spot where you feel like you're being played, don't wait for someone to save you. Make your own moves. I'm not a hero, I just finally stopped letting them write the story. Anyway, that's the update. Thanks to everyone who actually read this far.